Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you. That's depending where you are in the world. It is our nighttime devotion from the devotional Christ Triumphant. The title today, Labor Necessary Even in Eden. Genesis 2:17. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. In creating Adam and Eve, God designed that they should be active and useful. The holy pair were placed in paradise and surrounded with everything that was pleasant to the eye or good for food. A beautiful garden was planted for them in Eden. In it were stately trees of every description, all that could serve for use or ornament. Flowers of rare loveliness, of every tint and hue, perfumed the air. Merry songsters of varied plumage caroled joyous songs of praise for the Creator. Paradise delighted the senses of the holy pair, but this was not enough. They must have something to call into play the wonderful human organism. He who formed them knew what would be for their good, and had happiness consisted in doing nothing, they, in their state of holy innocence, would have been left unemployed. But no sooner were our first parents created than God appointed them their work. They were to find employment and happiness in tending the things which God had created, and their wants were to be abundantly supplied from the fruits of the garden. Work of brain and muscle is beneficial. Each faculty of the mind and each muscle of the body has its distinctive office, and all require exercise to develop them and to give them healthful vigor. Each wheel in the living mechanism must be brought into use. The whole organism needs to be constantly exercised in order to be efficient and meet the object of its creation. Christ is called the second Adam. In purity and holiness, connected with God and beloved by God. He began where the first Adam began. But the first Adam was in every way more favorably situated than was Christ. The wonderful provision made in Eden for the holy pair was made by a God who loved them. Everything in nature was pure and undefiled. Fruits, flowers, and beautiful, lofty trees flourished in the Garden of Eden. With everything that Adam and Eve required, they were abundantly supplied. But Satan came and insinuated doubts of God's wisdom. Eve fell under the temptation. Adam accepted the forbidden fruit from his wife's hand. He fell under the smallest test that the Lord could devise to prove his obedience, and the floodgates of woe were opened upon our world. By one man's disobedience, many were made sinners. Labor necessary even in Eden. So the title is basically telling us, even in Eden, Adam and Eve did require to work. Now, here it uses the term employment. Now, don't get it wrong. Employment isn't about having a job and getting paid. To employ something, it means to use it or to be used. So, employment is to be used or to be working. So, in our time now, if we're working, it means we have a job generally and we're getting paid to do it by someone. But to employ something means to use it to achieve an objective. They were employed, Adam and Eve were employed in the Garden of Eden to tend the garden, to grow the fruits, and to tend to everything, to till the land and everything they had to do. Employment is required to keep us healthy. Employment being work, being having to use our brains to think and to use our bodies, our muscles to work. The physicality and the mentality we need to think is required to keep us healthy. Our bodies need to remain healthy. Our mind needs to remain healthy. So it says they were to find employment and happiness in tending the things which God had created, tending to the garden. And their wants were to be abundantly supplied from the fruits that were growing, was providing them food and nourishment. The work of the brain, work of the muscles in the body was beneficial for them. And it helped their faculties for the muscles of the body and the muscles in the brain. We cannot grow physically or mentally if we do not work our muscles, our brain muscles, not literal brain muscles, but to stretch our brain and to work the muscles of our body. And then it goes on to say Christ was called the second Adam. He was born into mankind in purity and holiness, connected with God, beloved by God. He began where Adam began. But the first Adam had everything perfect in every way in the Garden of Eden, wanted for nothing. Jesus, on the other hand, was born into a sin-sick world. He had to wade through all his life, every moment of his existence. He had to wade through the sea of sin from the moment he woke up to the moment he went to sleep, and even maybe in his dreams. He had to wade through with every single step, every single day, the sea of excuse me, the sea of sin, of which we create even now. And he who is up in heaven, vying for us, knows what we're going through because he went through it himself. He's fighting for us, vying for us, and he will soon come to judge us. We need to fix up. Time is running out. Time is running out so quickly. Look at what's going on around in the world now. Time is running